When the precogs declare a victim and a killer, their name is embedded in the grain of wood. Since each piece is unique, the shape and grain is unique. The shape and grain is impossible to forge.
I'm sure you all understand the legalistic drawback to pre-crime methodology.
Here we go again.
Look, I'm not with the ACLU on this, Jeff. But let's not kid ourselves. We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will. The commission of the crime itself is absolute metaphysics. The precogs see the future, and they're never wrong.
But it's not the future if you stop it. Isn't that a fundamental paradox?
Yes, it is. You're talking about predetermination, which happens all the time. Why'd you catch that?
Because it was going to fall.
You're certain?
Yeah.
But it didn't fall. You caught it. The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
You ever get any false positives? Someone intends to kill his boss or his wife, but they never go through with it. How do the precogs tell the difference?
Precogs don't see what you intend to do. Only what you will do.
Then why can't they see rapes, or assaults, or suicides?
Because of the nature of murder. There's nothing more destructive to the metaphysical fabric that binds us than the untimely murder of one human being by another.
Somehow I don't think that was Walt Whitman.
Zara Cinnamon. She developed precogs, designed the system, and pioneered the interface.
Speaking of interfacing, I'd love to say hello.
Hello and welcome to Still Watching the Skies for August 2026. I'm Robert Reinecke.
I'm Ned Elmorel.
I'm Cody Lang.
Every month we explore the lesser discussed past science fiction movies. Some famous, some obscure, some good, some bad, some hard to describe, all of which we believe will create interesting conversations. This month we have a film that includes action adventure in the surveillance state with Steven Spielberg's Minority Report. Minority Report is based on Philip K. Dick's short story, The Minority Report, that was first published in the January 1956 issue of Fantastic Universe. Cody picked the film and is going to tell our listeners about the film, and then we'll discuss it. So take it away, Cody.
Hey guys.
Hey, Cody.
Minority Report. Hi. Directed by Steven Spielberg, 2002. Set in Washington, D.C. in the year 2054. Minority Report follows John Anderton, head of an elite pre-crime police unit that arrests would-be murderers before they act, using visions from three psychic mutants called precogs. When the system predicts Anderton will murder a stranger in 36 hours, he becomes a fugitive. Minority Report, as most people know, stars Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, Samantha Morton, Max von Sydow. Some good, I wouldn't call them cameos, but like smaller roles. Peter Stormare has a good little role. Tim Blake Nelson. I'm seeing here on Letterboxd Frank Grillo, but I don't remember seeing him in the film. But I do like him as an actor.
Neil McDonough.
Yeah, that's the blonde guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Catherine Morris, who I knew I'd seen her in a bunch of stuff, but didn't know her name. She was in another Philip K. Dick adaptation, Paycheck, which I'm sure we'll cover one of these days. I haven't seen it.
I would think we'll cover all
probably
of them.
20 years. I've probably only
If
seen
we
it once.
stick around long enough, we'll cover them all.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't mind that one, even though I don't think it's very good from what I remember, but I don't remember much. Anyway, Minority Report, adapted from, I would say, a short story, but I've seen descriptions saying it's a novella. But
It's
I
30
think
pages.
yeah, it's more of a short story. Written by Philip K. Dick. It was published in 1956, which I think is crazy to have that, published so early. It seems like really a bit, a bit ahead of its time. Just not really in terms of like what it's predicting, but more just like, yeah, like the topics, I guess, or like the way it's done. It seems like maybe I'm wrong. I mostly associate Philip K. Dick with like 60s and 70s, but um, the story is a bit different, and I think we'll talk about that a bit as we review it. Um, and yeah, we'll talk a bit about the production and everything else. It's sort of changed over the years from when it was first optioned or conceived of as a film. And then when eventually Spielberg directed it, so I think we could probably make mention of that stuff. So, um, what did you guys think of Minority Report? I'm not going to pick someone, so you guys have to fight for it.
Well, I first time I've seen it in a while, but I really liked it again. At least it was curious. I'd been away from it for a while, so it was curious to see what it predicted correctly and what it got wrong. And then I'll tell you what, the futuristic newspapers they show are very wrong.
I have that as one of my notes as well.
But um, the AI identifying you and like just like inserting your name into that and just kind of like tailoring the pitch to you. That seems like scarily prescient. Um, I mean, I like it. I think the action is fun. I think Janusz Kaminski's direct or cinematography is got to be one of the most influential of the early 20th century. Because I think everybody got, yeah, we're gonna bleach the color out of everything we make the science fiction like. It makes it more realistic, I guess. Um, but I think there's more to it than that. And I thought that the cinematography was very good. I thought the story was fun. Um, I don't feel that maybe Spielberg was that invested in the uh, metaphysics of that. I think he pretty much had it down what his opinion was, and he just wanted to tell a ripping yarn. But the screenplay certainly at least brings up the ideas, and it certainly, setting it in Washington certainly brings up surveillance state questions. Post 9/11. Uh, I guess right when the Patriot Act was being enacted, or it had been enacted. So, and I feel that was on everybody that made it mind. And I thought that was all good. And I think it is a fun yarn, although I don't. I feel like Tom Cruise's character. I mean, Tom Cruise is basically sliding into Tom Cruise action movie star mode, and I don't know if the character was all that interesting. And I would kind of say that's kind of the weak link, but good seeing early Colin Farrell again, and especially in light of what he has become over the years. I don't know, he never become the superstar, but he's certainly become a consistent presence and a good actor. And maybe he never made
He's
the hit list, but he's been working.
he's had kind of like a Matthew McConaughey sort of career where he started out doing these kinds of films. I think he did like the Daredevil movie soon after this. He did Phone Booth around this time. I think that might have even been the same year. He
Was he in the
was he in Troy?
Total, Total Recall remake?
I think he might have been, but like
Yes, he is.
he was getting set up for maybe not so much an action star, but kind of like a guy who would show up in a lot of thrillers or would do, he wouldn't be like like you said, the hero or the main character, but he would show up in, some more adventure action films. And
Hmm.
then it kind of goes to like In Bruges and Banshees of Inisherin and Killing of a Sacred Deer, like going into more and more, I don't want to say experimental, but like getting way, way far away
Yeah.
uh, from that. And things where he is, oh, the Lobster is another one, like where he is the main character. And yet it's strange because he, with like McConaughey, it was always kind of like he's a pretty boy, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, he does True Detective and a couple other things, and it's like, hey, he can act. I don't feel Colin Farrell ever actually had that cynicism towards his work, and maybe it's because he was more like a supporting character or a character, maybe not quite a character actor, but like, yeah, just overall a supporting character early in that. but he always has kind of seemed like easily identifiable as Colin Farrell, and I think he has a good range, but it's like it's Colin Farrell. I'm not that it's not that weird, even though he's his son's dying and over some curse, or he has a bullseye tattooed on his head. Like, I don't know, he fits smoothly into these things.
Hmm.
I would say I wasn't a fan of him in this. It was not really his performance. It was more just how his character was written.
Yeah,
I just found him a bit obnoxious. And
He's
that
kind of
might
the red
be
herring of the film.
that might be by design. I just thought like, oh, there's some weird beats. Like when they kind of like when he kind of leans into Tom Cruise's ex-wife at the house, and it's like, is there like, is he trying to like romantically insinuate something here? Like, there's really no point to that. Um, I could be misreading it, but um, yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought that the other actors in the smaller roles were really good, and I thought maybe he was the weakest.
I
But
I would
please go on. Yes.
no, I would agree. With Robert, I think to me it's a little bit more the writing. Like it seems in the last third of the film, not to jump ahead, that he is the one that should be doing the investigation as opposed to Cruise's or Anderton's ex-wife. And that seems like a weird swap.
Yeah,
when it
so I
happens.
think I know why that is. Like in the book or in the short story rather, he is I would say like you would agree, Robert, he's got more of a bigger role. Like
Yeah, he's kind of like actually angling the
he's actually kind
story.
of like Tom Cruise's character, and Tom Cruise's character in the book is kind of like Max von Sydow, but that's actually a bad explanation because the plot
I
is
would,
very different. But
yeah, well, the Tom Cruise's character Anderton in the book is kind of like a 50s balding guy with a young wife and smokes a pipe.
So like Philip K. Dick.
Probably.
probably, yeah. But it's
Although
just that but it's just
but
that in the book, like he is sort of like kind of not like
he's
he's
worried
like kind
about
of like
getting touched.
taking yeah, he's like kind of taken over. He's
Mhm.
like meant to like continue on, whereas in this it's like he is reduced to being the sort of threat not to Tom Cruise so much, but the threat to pre-crime organization
Yeah.
Mhm.
and to Max von Sydow's legacy, so to speak, um, which is tied to that organization. So that's why it would kind of I agree with Nat. It would make more sense if he was filling the plot roles, the plot functions of the wife, of the ex-wife character. But I think because they changed the story a fair amount and they wanted to make it more of like a redemption story,
Mhm.
that they wanted to have the ending of Tom Cruise and back together with his wife,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
they're
totally.
they're expecting. Now that's the one thing I do like a lot of the changes, but I don't like that change. So I do think that that's why his character kind of feels he has a
Yeah.
weird
He,
ending. Like he
he's
has got a
got,
weird ultimate conclusion. Yeah.
yeah, he seems to be more of a plot function than a character in the movie.
Yeah. Which is fine for some things because I do think that this is first and foremost, although there's kind of like a bit of conflict with that. I think it's like a really good neo-noir or like a really good sci-fi neo-noir mashup. Um,
Yes.
in some ways, like I wouldn't say it's a better film than Blade Runner, the final cut, but I think it's better at taking the ideas from film noir, especially the idea of like misrepresenting the past and misrepresenting facts
Mhm.
through like vision or other senses, but here it's mostly vision, which they like really hammer home
Yes.
with all the eye stuff and like all the broken glass and all of like the reinterpretation of the precog memories. Like whereas in film noir, it's you have these flashbacks, you might have something that is reinterpreted later on and it takes on new meaning, like in Chinatown, where like
Hmm.
they like it's sort of like the way something is spoken is kind of, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, that means something really different, actually.
Hmm.
And it has a lot of dire consequences. I'm trying to think of another film. Oh, like The Conversation, but that's more
Yep,
like
I was gonna
audio.
say.
Yeah, but that's more
Yes,
like audio.
chance.
But
Blowout would be
yeah,
another one. Yeah.
yeah, like there's a lot of older ones too
Blow
that
off.
aren't even. Yeah, well, Blowout is like a ripoff though
Yes, but I mean that's the
yeah,
visual versus audio.
yeah. Um, but yeah, in any case, I do think like that's why I do think the film is more plot and thriller like, and the character moments. I don't mind them, but I do feel my preference would be to like just kind of make it more noirish, not have the happy ending, so to speak. Um,
Mhm.
I
Yes,
but
we do have the happy ending.
I really like that, and I think that kind of nails down something that does sort of bug me a little bit about it too. And it actually ties into something else, I think. What also is maybe the more unfortunate lasting legacy of this is like all those moments with Tom Cruise, like watching his wife or ex-wife and his kid in the video are I don't want to say cringeworthy, but like it just feels like it brings the movie slowly down, and it just I don't even remember at the time if it was novel to sort of have this thing. I like the shot of him when he's like watching and kind of having a conversation with his video wife, and like she's just sort of
mhm.
half formed, or it's just, kind of like at a certain angle where you just see sort of flatness to her, but you see that there's nothing behind her. But just the idea of
Yeah,
like that whole conversation and him kind of dwelling on that always felt kind of cheap to me. But that also, I think, is like watching the video of your dead wife is like the cliche that lingers on from this, unfortunately. But yeah,
yeah,
I
and the thing is that she's not dead, so
no,
Yeah.
that's where it kind of is like, well, I think I don't like it. Kind of breaks from film noir, and I'm not saying that everything has to be like super strict, like it's fine to like break with stuff, but I think it would have been. Yeah, I just don't think it was needed, but I do in general like Tom Cruise in the film.
Yeah.
I like his character. It's just I prefer in like film noirs or neo noirs where they don't really have that much redemption. There's maybe a little bit.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
yeah, that's
feel
just my
like,
preference.
I feel like Spielberg isn't really that interested in the moral grayness of
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
He,
and that's the other thing I wanted to
that's
say was I do feel like the film completely abandons that
I agree.
discussion, and it's because it it is saying that it's flawed from the beginning, right? Whereas
Yes,
the whole like moral debate would be, well, what if it wasn't flawed? Would
yes,
it still be okay? Like that's the whole point, right?
yep.
Like that's the
right.
point of the moral conundrum.
I
But if
like that
you're
we're
already
jumping
saying
into
it,
this so early.
yeah, sorry.
No,
Well, we can go back to other stuff because there's
no, no,
other
no,
things I wanted
no,
to mention. Yeah.
no. I totally agree. That's like one of the notes that I have in here is like, okay, but it is a cop out, especially like since early in the film, it really feels like they're setting it up that that's where it's going. That's what the argument is going to be about
Yeah,
is
because Colin Farrell's character literally says it. He
yeah.
like speaks it out like very clearly and literally. Yeah.
Well, even the opening sequence, it's like that guy is going to kill the his wife
Yeah,
and
so
the
you're
guy
on
who's
the
having an
side of
affair.
it, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I totally agree. It's a cop out because there is questioning like what their capabilities are if they actually can't predict the future, and they disprove them twice within the course of the movie. And then I think what's more interesting is the idea of how one would manipulate this to actually commit a murder. So I like that idea of what they do with Max von Sydow's character, like how he gets rid of Agatha's
Mhm.
mother. But yeah, that is the thing that really kind of sticks wrong is that it really, like you said, should be let's assume that they actually can predict the future. This is the issue that we should be talking about. Like, is a crime that somebody has not committed but would actually commit a crime, or would there be like a lesser degree of that crime since they didn't actually commit it? And there's still a lot that one could do with that,
Yeah.
even in the
Well, I
nuances,
mean,
even assuming that the precogs are 100% accurate all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's the question, what happens if you tell somebody, give them the data? Do they
Hmm.
change their mind? Do they have free will?
Hmm.
Yeah, see that part I really kind of liked that part. I liked the part where they were kind of saying like that now that you know your future,
Yeah.
are you still going to do it? And I do like that sort of existential whatever element to it.
Mhm.
But maybe Robert, like, could you describe a bit like how it worked in the novel or in the short story? Because I feel like
Well,
they
it
also
also
don't
was like they
really
had
deal
like
with the
three
issue either.
minority, they had like three minority reports where, precog one sees this, and they'll feed the data to Anderton, and then precog two sees the future where Anderson's been fed the data, and that changes it
Yeah.
slightly. And then precog three sees the future that you know Anderson's been fed it and reacted and that, and now it's reacted to the second one, and now we have a third minority report.
I like that so much better, where it's not even like confirming what the future is, it's almost getting into like different planes of existence or
Exactly.
dimensions.
Yeah. Which is like a Philip K. Dick thing, Yeah.
Yes.
The one thing I liked about the original story, and I think it was it was set in a different time, and I think it was because so like in the original story, it's basically like the military is in conflict with this pre-crimes unit, and they're trying to find a way to discredit it. And they do kind of bring that up here in the very, very end, where Tom Cruise says, um, yeah, like they predicted that you're going to kill me, but if you don't kill me, then your whole institution is going to be discredited. So what are you going to do? And then he decides to shoot himself, right? But in the
Yeah.
in the short story, and I don't feel bad for spoiling because it's an old short story, but the guy basically who John Arrington's supposed to kill, he's like, yeah, like I planned this so that you would get, embarrassed and like you wouldn't kill me, and then it would show that your institution is flawed and that we should take it over. And then he decides, okay, I will kill you because I don't want my institution to be taken over. So he takes the exact opposite approach of like Max von Sydow's character. Um,
Hmm.
and I thought that was like a pretty, like an interesting sort of story element because I think Philip K. Dick was kind of like writing about different law enforcement agencies within the US that were warring with each other for power. And I'm not like an expert in that time period with like how the US military and other law enforcement agencies were dealing with stuff, but I do know that there was always conflict with FBI and some branches of government. I'm assuming there was conflict with CIA and the army, and they probably had disputes over like what was their job and what was not their job, etc.
And
And so
local
I
law
feel
Yeah.
like
enforcement as
I mean,
well.
you had the
Yeah.
Red Scare going on, and you had
yeah, so I feel like
Eisenhower going from the army to taking over the government because you
yeah,
like
so I feel like that was kind of what was on Philip K. Dick's mind, and then whereas this it was trying to be about, I guess you could say, the Patriot Act, but I don't feel like it. I think it kind of flubs it a bit just because of what Nat said, how it completely sidesteps the moral issue.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
famously, they were going to have a line at the end that said, after pre-crime, there's like 254 murders in Washington, D.C. the following year. And that
right, right.
cut from the film. So it's very clean. So it's like, yes, it was good that pre-crime was shut down.
Which in
Uh,
itself is
Spielberg,
weird too,
yeah.
because like, I mean, they could also have something where it's like, hey, we could find a middle ground where it's like, hey, we just prevent the crimes as opposed to
Hmm.
basically
Mhm.
convict the people or imprison them
Yeah,
immediately
exactly.
following that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like
Yeah.
this
Maybe
this
you can't
this
throw them
issue,
in jail for not committing a crime.
yeah.
Well, they might commit a crime in the future.
Well, it's also like I think Colin
Priority.
Farrell's character is supposed to be from the Justice Department, but like nobody who commits a pre-crime actually gets a trial.
Yeah,
You
I
They're
know,
just
know.
thrown in
Yeah.
jail.
and,
Yeah.
and you know what? I want to go even further than that. They're after Tom Cruise for committing a crime, so that's not pre-crime, that's post-crime. That's kind of a
Uh
weird. that
What do you mean though?
they're after the guy gets killed, presumably by Tom Cruise, and they're still have
Oh,
to
it should be a
arrest him and
different
not arrest
agency
him for
that's
a pre-crime.
pursuing him.
Yes, but they do say that
Yeah.
actually.
Mhm.
Like they do say like Colin Farrell says like, this was done in this way, therefore it's the federal agency's, um
Yeah, but you can't just like
jurisdiction.
throw him
That's an interesting thing too, is like, okay, so what happens? Like they barely make it in the opening crime. They are barely able to prevent that.
Hmm.
So like, do the two people that, not Tom Hanks, Jesus Christ, that Tom Cruise is talking to, like, are they basically the other law enforcement, or it's like, hey, if we bungle this one, you guys are going to have to come in and arrest this guy, or like they charge. I mean, they have to have like some capacity, and this is probably not worth nitpicking, but they have to have like some capacity to be able to arrest somebody if they flub the job, right? Because like they can't just be standing there after murders
Yeah,
being
like it would be
You
super
you would
stupid
think they
if,
still have to go
yeah.
on trial though. Whatever exception there is for pre-crime, you'd have to think that a real crime, they still have to go to court
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
convict them.
but Nat is highlighting a potentially hilarious scenario where they
That's
they
far more
come in,
important.
they
Yeah.
come in, they don't stop it. They guy commits a crime, they see them, and then they have to call the other cops
Yeah, and then,
to do
and
it.
then basically like they get so bad at their job that like all they're doing is just being called in as like expert witnesses or
It's like,
witnesses
oh
of the
shit, we got
scene
the
of the
we got
crime.
the wrong door.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so you guys witnessed the murder because you were there for pre-crime, but you failed to prevent it. But you actually saw the murder, and then they go and say, yes, we're
Yeah, now
eyewitness
they're
testimony in the
witnesses. Yeah.
trial of this person that we whose crime we failed to prevent.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but overall I do like both stories. I like this story. I like the original. I think I like the short story a bit more, and because I don't like some of like the sort of, quote unquote sappier stuff with this. But I do like how much it leans into film noir.
Yeah,
I think that was a cool angle to take that I don't know if it was in the short story. Um,
I mean,
and
it was such, a story written in the 50s. I feel it's kind of naturally film noirish, even if it isn't film.
yeah, but
So I
I've
okay.
always never thought like Philip K. Dick's writing felt like hard boiled to me. Like even though like yeah, he was the main source of inspiration for Blade Runner, like I always feel like his books don't have that edge to them. They're more like messy and kind of speculative.
Hmm.
Um, like the only one that kind of felt like that was "Flow My Tears," the policeman said, I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah, I think
Um,
you're correct.
but yeah, whereas I do like that this one leaned into that. Now
I think
I
he's much
really
more
like the way it
focused on
looks.
his short stories than
Mhm.
he is in his novels, where it's
Yeah.
like every good idea that comes along, I'm going to include in my novel. Well, the short stories are written in, a couple days, and they're very much more tight and focused.
Yeah, I do find his short stories to be quite focused, but I really like the also the visuals of how Spielberg is doing neo-noir. I think it's pretty unique. I'm
Mhm.
trying to think like what would have been the precursor like right around this time, like Matrix,
I was gonna say, yeah,
I
Matrix.
guess, Dark
I
City. Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen 1 Hour Photo, and I think that's a little bit after that, but I seem to remember it
Yeah.
being like
The
a
big
similar vein where it's like things are kind of washed out and like overly white as opposed to like overly black that I would think you'd have in
Yeah, but
traditional
it's not
noir.
just washed out. It's like grainy.
Yes.
It's like
Mhm.
there's times where like you can't even see like the main actor's face because
Mhm.
the whites are blowing out the screen so much. Like it is
Yeah,
actually a pretty bold
yeah. Oh, it's very bold.
set of choices.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
it's cool. Like maybe because modern cinematography and American TV and movies has kind of gotten a little bland and overproduced or whatever the term would be, overprocessed, but this one just felt really kind of refreshing. Um Yeah, I was really into that part of it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I feel like we ought to give proper credit to the Coens and Oh Brother Where Art Thou and Roger Deakins too for pointing in this direction.
mhm.
Though
Yeah,
they did not go as far as Kaminsky did here.
no, I agree too. And like I was really surprised by the grain. I watched this on I think Amazon Prime. I think I've had like a digital purchase for a while, and I remember like the colors being washed out and having like a very distinctive look, but I didn't remember like the grain and like just kind of the overall fuzziness of it. Uh, yeah, but I really do like the world that they create, and I think that really helps with a lot of it too, just how smooth and clean and sterile everything kind of looks as well. I love the set of the mall, even as anachronistic as it probably is, or maybe is inaccurate as it is. But no, I really like the look of this, and the sets of this as well.
What did you think of the cars? Like the cars traveling up those, I guess, like long slides and stuff, and like they're going sideways?
I really like that, but it doesn't it doesn't seem like it's actually it seems like it's just for that sequence because the rest of the world or the rest of the city where you see it, like you or the rest of the city as you see in the movie, doesn't look like it fits with
No,
that aesthetic. Like there's no other vertical architecture
Hmm.
or city design anywhere else. Everything kind of looks more contemporary, like 2002, even 2026 or so. Like the
but
again,
even the car doesn't look that different.
what's that?
Even the car automobile doesn't look that.
I mean I think it's cool, but like everything else is very flat and it looks like just kind of like the world is not expanded up, but it's expanded continued to expand like out. So
Yeah,
even with the opening, it's like, you still see houses that are, that were built like in the say 50s, 60s, 70s or so. Even if they look similar, parks, are still there. They still have like the same equipment on parks, even when he goes out to the country to meet with the weird herbologist. It's just kind of like I like when they don't go too overboard with like how the world is supposed to look. And it actually looks eerily similar or more similar to what it looks like now, and they don't make too many of those changes. So I I like the designs for that sequence, but it doesn't feel like it's consistent with the rest of the world.
hmm yeah. I feel like I mean, there's lots of neat stuff here, and I feel like how the technology works and all that. I feel like it's very neat. But
Mhm.
like the world building as far as architecture and stuff, I agree. It's like yeah, it's a cool sequence, but we don't see that sequence anywhere else, or it doesn't seem practical. Or why do we have these vertical slides for the freeway?
It's so he can jump around him. And like
Yeah.
even minutes later, like where they're at the factory that makes
hmm
actual cars, I guess, which is
Yeah.
Hmm.
also strange because it's like, okay, are these all cars? Are these like cabs? Is this mass transit? But how could it be mass transit? Because he gets on a subway or a train later in the movie, and it can't be just like regular cars because he gets into an actual car in the receiving center.
Yeah. I feel like, Spielberg's having a lot of fun in that sequence where, the car gets built around Tom Cruise while he and Colin Farrell are fighting.
So I think that's a Hitchcock thing because there's a famous clip from the Dick Cavett show where Hitchcock is describing a scene that he wasn't able to do for North by Northwest, where Cary Grant goes to Detroit and he's getting like some information from somebody as they're walking through an assembly line. And as they're having their discussion in the background, you see a car being put together. And then at the very end of it, like the intent is for Cary Grant to get in the car and drive off. And as he opens the door, a dead body falls out, which is great. But I feel like that's got to be like a little nod to Hitchcock. In,
It could
in
be. But I feel like, there's lots of things that Spielberg's having fun. And I feel like, I don't know, I don't think Spielberg wants to uh, follow through on exploring the nitty-gritty details of this world and the concept, but he's certainly having fun here. And
Oh yeah.
he likes to goose the audience. I feel like we're gonna have some eyeballs rolling around. That'll goose the audience. Is feel like
Yeah, I think he
Spielberg
was
thing.
I think he actually was having a lot of fun with
Mhm.
just repeating visual motifs. Like you have like the declaration of the murder victim and the murderer in that rolly ball, and then you have the eyeballs floating around. You have the like the little
Yeah.
spider things that look like little eyeballs.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, I find that
oh, and like the way
but
Tom Cruise grabs his eyeball from going down the drain on like the little
yeah,
tendril or whatever it is. Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Even more shocking is like people having sex in the apartment while the spiders are climbing through it.
That was funny. Yeah.
I feel like Spielberg is really going. He certainly invested in the direction. I even like we always know about his oneers that are not like so long that they draw attention to themselves, but they follow him down the ramp when he goes from the control room to the tank room. I
Mhm.
feel like that's a nice shot that he used at least a couple times, and
Mhm.
he doesn't draw attention to his tracking shots, but I feel like he uses them quite a bit, and he likes to move through 3D spaces, and I don't know how he does it sometimes, but I mean, I feel like the whole mall escape from the mall sequence is kind of like, yeah, we're gonna see his put into 3D and how these things are all blocked together so that works
Yeah,
uh, in effect.
yeah. And I like the setup of like Tom Cruise's office and then the precogs are like in this large curved glass window like right below him. But yeah, it is like a spiral, so it's kind of like twisted as it's going down. Uh
Like ball rolling down to be dropped.
mhm. Yeah.
Something we should mention too about the not or the short story, the precogs in there are pretty different.
Yes.
They are described like basically like
Mutant.
nonverbal mutants,
Yep.
like super like very grotesque. Like they're not like how they are in this. Um, I wouldn't say you feel well, I don't really know if I feel bad for them in this movie either, but
I
they're
do.
definitely
I feel bad
yeah.
for Anna.
Yeah, like I don't want them to be in the tub all the time, but
Yeah.
in like the short story, they're kind of seen as just like
They're
freaks
kind of
of
like
nature
wolves.
that
Yeah.
This is
are
like David Lynch's Minority Report is what.
yeah,
Ah,
like it is like pre David Lynch. Yeah, like it's like they sounded gross. And it's not like you could pick them up and talk to them. Like they were like just like they could only do the precog stuff. That's it. Like they couldn't do what Samantha Morton was doing.
yeah. So I do
Um,
like the change because I feel like, it gave Samantha Morton some agency and made her an interesting character. And you're like, brought up the idea, well, can they manipulate things? Maybe they were manipulating things all along, and they with the end with end goal being released. I don't know if they played
yeah.
chess thing, but that's another idea that one could put in there. What if the precogs uh don't want to do this? Can they mess up the system themselves?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
I like that idea too.
I mean, it's like there's a lot of ideas there, and I don't think they explore all of them, but they explore some of them.
I I don't know. I mean, and it also just may be for the best that that Spielberg doesn't and does stick to sort of like what
Hmm.
he's best at in this. Like I think he can explore some of those issues and he can do it really visually well and interesting, but maybe not with like the same depth as other directors that potentially like we've covered or that maybe like Philip K. Dick may require. But I still do like this movie a lot, and this was one
Oh, me
where
too. Yeah.
It's very entertaining.
yeah. And I didn't
Yeah.
have much hopes for this when I originally saw it and then went to go see it. I'm like, wow, I seriously like misjudged that. And I still do have a very soft spot for this.
But yeah, I feel like Spielberg said his piece on like due process is good. We have it in Bridge of Spies and we don't have it here, and this is bad. So I feel that's like Spielberg has let us know what his feelings are on the topic.
Well, even if like due process doesn't even come up, like,
Yeah.
uh, but um, no, I also feel like even with the eyeball imagery that like is pervasive, or balls in
Mhm.
general throughout this movie, it's a pervasive theme. Like it doesn't sustain throughout the film, but there's also like a strange religious undercurrent to a lot of it, at least early on.
Yeah,
Like Colin Farrell's constantly using Bible quotations or making comparisons to that. They call like the neuralizer the halo.
yeah.
Um,
Kissing his medallion around his neck, and they call the tank room the temple.
mhm. Which I'm not quite sure how that ties into everything. Like, so I guess you picked up on it too, Robert. Like, is there any sort of like religious imagery or religious references in the story, or Cody, or
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It feels more like a bureaucracy thing than a religious thing.
okay. I was gonna say it doesn't, it seems like it's intended, it's like inserted either, by Spielberg or the screenwriters, but I'm also not quite sure to what effect. Like if it's, only God sees all, but this doesn't.
That could be it, maybe, actually. Um, like maybe we should talk a bit about like how the screenplay changed. Like from what I read, it was it was supposed to be a follow-up like movie, not like in story, but like Arnold was supposed to be in it
Mhm.
after Total
Interesting.
Recall, and then I think that they just decided that maybe that's not a great idea. And then like
It's
there was a version of the script, and then it kind of made its way to Steven Spielberg, and then he got too tied up doing AI and it got delayed. And then I think he wasn't happy with the script and then got other guys to change it. So I think it did go through a lot of changes, and maybe some things like this, this sort of character trait of Colin Farrell's character was just like a leftover. That's my only guess. I don't think it's like
Mhm. I
anything
feel like
beyond, yeah.
there's parts of it that does remind me of a Verhoeven film because I feel like we open up with an action sequence to set up the general concept, and then right after that we have this kind of like promotional video for precrime, and then we kind of
Mm,
get into the story.
yeah.
And it's not as satirical as I think Verhoeven would have made, but I feel like that's part of the structure that you would see in, like RoboCop or Total Recall. Here's get into the story, and then some world building, and then we'll finally get to introduce you to the characters. Or at least that's how it felt to me. And I think going, is Spielberg more of a fan of Verhoeven than I would have thought?
I think he's a fan of a lot of people you may not think. Like he is a David Lynch fan,
Yeah,
clearly.
he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, but I mean, I felt like I felt like this. I mean, it does have satirical. I mean, Spielberg's sense of humor is very different from Verhoeven's.
Oh,
Mhm.
totally. But I
Yeah.
do think he is having some, like you said, like he is having some fun and he is poking fun a bit. Like even the idea of
Yes.
like the Gap store and stuff. Like he
Exactly.
is, yeah, he is kind of doing something different. I felt that way about War of the Worlds as well too.
Yeah. I feel like that the doctor that's replacing his eyes, and the doctor leaves him with like silent movies on. I feel that's a joke.
Yeah, so I was trying to get a picture of that silent movie. Was it Count of Monte Cristo?
I thought it was a Zorro movie, but it's
Oh,
been
okay, okay, yeah,
yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Oh, I've forgotten now. Yeah.
But I feel like that. Although it's kind of like he's supposed to not expose his eye, and then the spider exposes his eye, and there doesn't seem to be a fall-on effect of that, which is kind of weird for Spielberg, because Spielberg's usually really good at that. He'll take something, then he'll add the complication, and then spin something else off of that.
Right, yeah. I do like the eye thing where like people are tied to their irises. I don't think it's too far-fetched. And I do like the idea when like he's in the when he's getting advertised to, and they're speaking to him as if he's like a Japanese man because they just, tie his
The
identity
cross-dressing
to,
Japanese man.
well, yeah, like there was just like like was it a woman?
Well,
Like,
no, because I think they say Mister, but don't they say like, I hope you enjoyed the whatever lingerie that we purchased for you? Like,
oh, I see. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, okay, that part I missed. But I do kind of like how they like, yeah, like the advertising is really good. It's tied to someone's eyeballs, but it's still dumb because it doesn't see that it's not the right person, like at the
mhm.
same time, right? Um,
It's like, wouldn't you have like way to, that eyeballs can be switched? Wouldn't you have like eyeballs and facial recognition?
yeah, exactly,
What
exactly.
happens if you have like your own eyeball in one socket and somebody else's eyeball in another
Yeah, I know.
socket?
Yeah.
Like, does that short the machine out?
But even like the way the spiders are checking, like it is a little it is a little dumb because like yeah, like these are spider robot thingies that are scanning irises. They could make a mistake, right?
Mhm.
And like they decide not to go into the room because the spider says, "Oh, it's not him." And but it's like, well, you're already there. Like, why don't you just bust it open? You're already invading everyone's privacy anyway.
I think for that, like, I don't
But yeah,
know.
that's just more of a good like movie thriller moment, I think.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, you could say that they have to scan like a lot of stuff quickly, so that's why they have them,
Yeah,
so they
true.
can't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
manually go
true.
through it.
Yeah, he's hungry. He wants to go eat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also like, that's also a concerning aspect of pre-crime. It's like, okay, they can just like invade privacy whenever, like unlawful search and seizure apparently isn't a thing in this future either. Like
Yeah.
it already is kind of a police state, but again, they don't dwell on that too much.
No, yeah, it's true. The other thing I did like was just overall like, like the weapons, the look of the cops. Like I like those like kind of sonic shotguns.
The six
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah, and like I wasn't sure if like as he was twirling them, he was like charging them with like kinetic energy to shoot stuff more, or he was just being fancy. I think it's the former, but
Oh,
um
oh, the guns. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I thought
He
you
was
meant like
doing kind
their
of
tasers.
the rifleman whirl and cock at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was a cool action scene when like he was blasting guys with that. And I really liked the Peter Stormare, underground. Like that to me felt like more of like a cyberpunk thing, but also like a
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick thing too. And
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of like Alfred Bester as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
And I like that whole setup of like he's done this so many times before. It's like, okay, you pulled this string to use the bathroom, you pulled this string to go to the refrigerator.
Right, yeah.
And it's weird that like he's thought of everything except like apparently not to throw out the rancid sandwich and milk that's in the fridge, but
Yeah.
that's it's a fun little gag.
The other tech stuff I liked that I do feel, while it doesn't happen the same way, I do feel like it is a bit prescient, is when you go to that club where the guy is basically
Oh yeah.
hooking people up to like, it's kind of like a Total Recall-esque where you get to live out fantasies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like there's like one fantasy where like the guy's like everyone's congratulating him and like saying how smart he is, and one guy he wants to like kill someone or kill
Mhm.
his boss, which I'm curious how that works with like the precog stuff because this guy has violent tendencies, and I guess in this world he has no intention of doing it, but he does have like these insane violent tendencies that he has to like pay for someone to like, simulate it.
It's an Aristotelian world, so he purges all of those feelings by
Yeah.
going to this virtual reality bar. So once he does that, he doesn't have the feelings anymore.
Yeah, and I really like that part too. Like they didn't dwell on it too much, but I thought it was a cool little set piece and some cool moments. Um, Kind of reminded me of like stuff from like Strange Days and Johnny Mnemonic,
Yeah.
um, a bit, but was actually better than both.
And actually, with that too, and the same thing with like scanning the eyes and calling out their name in the mall, it's like there's no expectation of privacy. I guess that also goes with the spiders as well, but
Hmm.
at least the people in there seem to value their privacy. But it's like when they go to that virtual reality realm, and I know it's for the movie, so you could see like here's what the future looks like. It wouldn't be as visually interesting if it was just people wearing like their headsets and just making weird
Hmm.
sounds.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it is sort of strange that like you're walking and basically people are just ads are calling out your name, calling out like your clothing preferences. People are seeing like what your fantasies are, however lurid they are, and it's very nonchalant. Like nobody seems to mind, but
Hmm.
it's a strange future. I was also going to say I kind of like this where basically none of the logos have changed in 52, 50 or so, 53 or whatever years from like 2002. So they have like Pepsi, Gap, Nokia, I think like USA Today, and all their
Hmm.
logos are the same. Like they don't change
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
from like what they are in 2002, which is a cool choice. And I will say one thing that probably doesn't age that well is that Max von Sydow's video computer for his Zoom calls is a Nokia, which is totally spun up for 2002, but sadly.
I should say I'm not sure that Max von Sydow was the right choice because I know he can play the lovable mentor, but he also can play the villain that's behind the scenes. And I kind of feel like maybe you could find somebody that was more only known for the lovable mentor part, and you might have had a better chance of pulling off the twist a little bit more effectively. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, you get to work with Max von Sydow, so
Mhm.
yeah, totally. One nitpick, it's gonna sound really stupid. I thought Tom Cruise's pants were too baggy. If
well,
you watch
nobody
it
says
again, you'll see what I mean.
Okay,
I'm
well
sure I
now
will.
I need to check this out.
Yeah, I just thought they're a little too baggy, you know?
I feel like we should talk about Samantha Morton. 'Cause I feel like uh, she has not a lot to do necessarily, or not a lot of screen time, but I think she makes the most of what she has and makes a fairly unique character. And I think they have fun. Well, maybe not fun, but I think they come up with some striking visuals with her. I think floating in the tank, the three of them is good, but I feel like the scene where like uh Tom Hanks is holding her and you get see both their faces at once, not facing each other, and that is certainly uh not the usual way that one does a two shot of people having a conversation. And I think I remember it was praised at the time, and I think rightly so, because nobody's really followed up on it and come up with anything better than that.
Yeah, she was really good. She has like she's got a really unique look, and I think it fits with what her character
Mhm.
is. And she's yeah, she just has like she does some really good performance moments, like where she's telling him to run and screaming, and yeah, she was great. The other two guys, I don't think you get to know too well. They're just kind of in the tubs.
Yeah, there's
Um,
still the tubs, I guess, at the very end, but
yeah.
when you do see her, she's kind of like overwhelmed by all the sensory. I think that's kind of like the idea I get from her at all
Hmm.
times, and I feel like it's like spot out all the time. I'm never not getting what's going on with her.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
like when she's kind of getting run like, carried around by Tom Cruise, it reminded me a bit of like
Weekend at
Bruce
Bernie's.
Willis with Madeline Stowe, I think, in 12 Monkeys, like had a similar vibe a bit. But yeah, overall she's good. Like pretty good casting for like a like some sort of like um super intelligent sci-fi person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Kaminsky's use of shadows and probably Spielberg. I'm sure Spielberg was all in on that themselves. I think is very good in the film. Um, because as we said, it's not like Blade Runner, but it certainly is like noir in its own way, and I feel like that's quite clear. Um,
Yeah, but it's a really unique take on it. Like it
yeah,
almost has influenced video games, I feel like more than movies in some respects. Like there's a lot of video games I'm thinking now that look like this.
yeah, it
Um
could be.
and they might not even be noir type
Mhm.
stories, but
Yeah.
I like it. Just I like how white everything is, just because it highlights the idea that like there is no place to hide, so you have to run.
Mm,
Where like everything is kind of like overly lit, and like the lights are very bright, and like there is use of shadows, but like the overall shadows are kind of sparse. Like
mhm.
there's not much of any major location that's left to the imagination of like the viewer. It's kind of like everything is sort of exposed,
Yeah,
except for the pre-crime office or the pre-crime building, and
it's
Max
kind of
von Sydow's office.
it's kind of like the photo negative of noir at times.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
shadow,
true.
Michael.
lots of white instead of black,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
which is interesting. I mean, I think it is. I mean, not much gray in this film, or is it all gray? Well, I mean, it's so
No,
white. Yeah.
it's pretty white. Except
Yeah.
I do like uh on the use of colors that like reds are used fairly sparingly, and it always tends to be for something that's maybe a little bit more natural. So blood, obviously, but like the balls themselves are made of wood, which is a
Yeah.
neat
Yeah.
touch, and those are generally like red or hotter, like warmer overall colors, um and I'm sure there's like some other example. Well, the balloons themselves, and I think like maybe the kid,
Hmm.
because the balloons,
Mhm.
like there's red on the balloons, so that may not be natural, but it still is like maybe a little less sterile, a little bit more, heartwarming.
Yeah, like it does like punch out pretty well.
Mhm.
That reminds me of another part I really liked. I did like the sequence where she's partnered with Tom Cruise and then they're on the run and she's, giving him like little advice
Mhm.
and you don't really know
Yeah.
why until like 5 minutes later each time. Like I
Yeah,
really like that
Yeah.
storytelling technique. That was cool.
yeah, that's like Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And no, I have to say I like the flying cops in their flying police car stuff, and it was not Blade Runner like, but it looked really good. But Spielberg was not showing off to say, "Isn't this cool?" It's just kind of like in there and part of it, and well done. But he was willing to pull back and just have it kind of part of the world.
Mhm.
Like especially when they arrive at the cottage at the end and they're swarming over it. I thought that was like that's a well done shot. And we're
Mhm.
not playing it up for as a money shot, just kind of believable there.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I also really like the whole sequence, like the initial chase sequence with the jetpacks, and like how he
Mm-hmm.
basically kind of uses that against them, and like they crash into stuff, and he like throws one up, and basically like they lose control um of that as well. And I think maybe my favorite shot is like when the one guy gets hit with the six stick and just immediately like does the massive projectile vomiting. Like it's not quite on the level of the dude blowing water out of his nose for Nemesis, I think, but it's a solid puke take.
Spielberg is down above the real childish humor at times.
No, but it's
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah. How do we feel about about
Shall,
go ahead.
shall we talk about the alternative reading of the ending,
Sure.
where everything in the Halo, everything after the Halo gets put on him is his fantasy? You know,
Oh, I never thought of that. That's cool.
I
But I
mean,
don't think that's what's going on.
I don't think that's what's going on there, but I get that reading.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would have been a cool that would have been a cool ending if they made that the ending. That would
Like
be
a Brazil type.
yeah, or like Point Blank or something like where you don't know if what you're watching is if what you just watched was like, the dying man's fantasy.
Mhm.
Um or like Inception or whatever. Although this is before Inception, but yeah, no, that would be cool. I don't think that's I don't think that's plausible just given how
I,
the film plays out, but
I feel like, revealing that Max Sidal is the bad guy before that kind of works against it.
Mhm.
But I feel it is a cool reading. It actually makes a certain amount of sense.
Well, and yeah, like if it were his fantasy, then I could see the Colin Farrell character getting killed. Like,
Right.
but to your point, it wouldn't be Max von Sydow from John Anderton's view. It would be Colin Farrell because he would think that like Colin Farrell's still the guy who's chasing him. He would still
Right.
think that like he's the one who's been behind it. Like he's even saying he's the one who set me up at the very beginning. So I don't think would at that moment or at that time in the movie have a reason to suspect Max von Sydow like Anderton wouldn't.
yeah,
No.
because I'm trying to think like when does Anderton really find out that Max von Sydow is the killer of the mom?
I
It's the
think he
wife
does it
finds out
after.
and he tells him.
Sorry, who tells him?
The wife figures out that,
Yeah.
that
Yes,
he
but that's the
needs to stop.
wife. But that's the wife.
So
But
presumably the wife
But if it
tells
was
him once she gets him out of the
yes,
halo.
exactly. So that's where it doesn't work,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Although, maybe that is a fantasy that, well, she's going to tell me that who is the real bad guy all along.
Well,
That's true.
but it would make
And
more sense again if it were Colin Farrell's character who's the bad
Yeah.
guy, because that's who he suspects is the one who's setting him up, and he
Yeah,
yeah.
would
and
suspect
it
him to be
meshes.
the bad guy.
Yeah, and it meshes too neatly with the reality that we know for it to be true in the fantasy world. You'd expect there to be differences, but
But that
but
would
yeah,
be a cool
it's a cool
cool
read.
way to end it. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Much more depressing, but kind of cool.
Precrime wins, but bad guy wins too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Verhoeven probably would have went for that ending, but
Oh yeah.
not Spielberg.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because isn't that kind of like what Total Recall is a bit? Like you're
yeah,
not
I
sure
think
if you
Yes.
read if you saw the fantasy
Yes.
or if it really happened. Yeah. So
yeah. But I feel like Spielberg could have played up the ambiguity of that ending a little bit more.
I don't think there's any ambiguity in the
Exactly.
end. So there's not any ambiguity to play up.
There could have been.
There could have been,
Yes.
and should have been.
perhaps should have been. But again, that's Spielberg makes it his movie, though. Like
Yes.
it's Philip K. Dick provides a good skeleton for
Yeah.
this. There's some cool action scenes that we can do in the future. I can work with Tom Hanks. I can work with Peter Stormare again. I can get this cool guy I've seen in another Coen Brothers film as the organ player. Like, I don't know. I think it's like, hey, let's do something fun. And it's also the same year that he does Catch Me If You Can,
Yeah.
which
Oh
like
yeah,
I
which
I
rocked.
I love that movie, and I
Hmm.
do like that more than Minority Report. That is one of my like maybe top five Spielberg movies.
It is
But
really good.
That's
Yeah.
That
also
one is
one where
good.
I think like there's a lot more character depth to it. There's a lot more heart to it, and there's some really cool chase sequences, I would say, but it is more like I don't want to say psychological, but it's a lot more character driven. I think like a lot more
Oh, totally. Yeah.
cleverness, whereas
Yeah.
this is like more straightforward action.
Yes.
hmm
No,
Yeah.
I feel like this is my big summer blockbuster I'm gonna have some fun with, and
Yeah.
I do feel it's to Spielberg's credit that he didn't like scrub the film of all of its ideas. He
No,
might
Oh
I
no, and he kind of
more than
expanded on some too. Yeah.
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 No, I think the best thing with this, and I think the best treatment that he gives this is like the opening sequence. Like I think that just plays out amazingly. It tells you everything you need to know about the world and pre-crime and how things work. It looks cool. It's thrilling and exciting, and you're on the side of like the pre-crime for how detail driven Tom Cruise is and figuring out like all these different aspects or piecing together all these little elements of pictures. Like I think that's like Raiders of the Lost Ark level opening set piece.
It's kind of like he's conducting an orchestra with all these images he's just throwing across the screen
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And yeah, it sets up like the entire film and all the main characters. It gives you the architecture of like his office. It gives you the setting. And the idea here too is like it still keeps in with, hey, the precogs are right in this instance.
Right.
And the closer shave it is, the closer they likely are going to be in that. And I think that's something Spielberg just does really, really well.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think the opening sequence is one of the strongest sequences. It establishes the concept very clearly, and it says, yeah, just because you have the idea doesn't mean you can instantly stop it. So you have to figure it out and put together the clues too
Mm-hmm.
in a
Oh yeah,
fast-paced manner.
that's a cool part. Yeah, I agree. That part's cool.
Yeah.
Um, my favorite sequence is probably the one, like I think it's tied between like when Tom Cruise is doing the eye surgery and then when he's with Agatha on the run. I think those are my two favorite ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say, if I could cut something, it would be everything with the herbologist, like the inventor of
Yeah.
pre-crime.
Oh, I
I
actually like that. Yeah.
I
Sorry, yeah.
don't. Fair enough, but I just
It's not needed, but I do like it.
yeah, it's
I
not
like the
needed.
conversation. I just don't like all the plant stuff.
I don't
Yeah,
either.
I thought the plant stuff was hilarious. Like I was like, oh, is he doing like Aeon Flux stuff now or something?
Yeah, maybe that's why it rubs me the wrong way. It just yeah, it doesn't feel like it contributes that much. Even the conversation that they have, uh, I don't know if it's really needed. Like,
It's definitely not needed because it foreshadows the third act.
Yeah.
So like,
well,
why would you do that?
it's also like, the purpose of it being kind of like to turn Tom Cruise against pre-crime, but he already should be turned against pre-crime because
Yeah, he's on the run.
he's on the run. Yeah. And it doesn't really turn the audience against pre-crime because we're already skeptical of pre-crime at this point.
Yeah, that's
And
like the whole premise of the film.
I mean, you get the hot kiss between them at the very end of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of
It
those
was
things.
hot. Yeah, that was pretty hot. Yeah.
And I don't really like that performance either. I don't like that the characters that kind of like just are way too over the top. I'd say like the same thing when with Samantha Morton when she like screams run and just it's a
Oh,
cool shot.
I like that. Yeah.
I
It's kind of funny and
I don't know
campy.
why she's screaming it because it's like don't alert the people who are descending upon this place to like what room he's in.
hmm
But I like the shot because I think that's where it's like she says that, then it pulls out, yeah, and then pulls back into or pulls out to see like all the people descending on it, and then pulls back into to her being like, "Run." But yeah, that the drug dealer, the clarity dealer is pretty bad. But
Oh, I actually like that too. Anything that's
Awesome.
like cyberpunk-y or something, or like, yeah, I do find it kind of fun.
I like the idea, I just don't like the performances.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. The performances are not going to win any awards.
Mhm.
I do like the use of music in there. I don't know. I really remember much of the main theme, but I remember when they have the organ playing, and I feel like the conductor is the stand-in for Spielberg there. Cruz is the conductor's the stand-in for Spielberg, and I feel like I feel like there's something. I don't know. Is that church music that you would say that they're playing? I
I don't know. It
I thought
sounds
it
more
was
like
Bach,
I
but
know it's Beethoven. I think it was, but
okay. I know it's
it could
Schubert's
be Bach.
Symphony that's what Tom Cruise is playing when he's doing his pre-crime work.
Okay.
But I don't recall what the organ
Yeah,
music is.
again, it's kind of fits into that whole religious theme that's going on there. Maybe not a religious theme is motif is probably a better choice of there because it's there, but I don't think it really symbolizes much of anything.
Mhm. All
I
I
think
know
it's
is
meant to just be like this is a weird guy. I think that's
yeah,
Yeah,
what it's trying to get
yeah.
across. Yeah.
I think
Unless
so.
there's like this kind of odd faith in the system or misplaced faith in the system.
Yeah, I
Blind
like
faith.
that.
Yeah.
And I mean, if him being in a wheelchair weren't evidence enough that this guy's not on the level. No,
Yeah.
but I actually I do really like where I think he when he first goes to talk to Tim Blake Nelson, and I forget what Tim Blake Nelson goes to get, but he goes over to like one of his tables and he like slams into it. Like it's a
Oh
nice
yeah,
little
yeah,
visual
yeah,
touch of like him, not being entirely agile with his wheelchair.
yeah.
Another red flag. But uh,
Well, I think I'm a bit spent.
Yeah, I don't really think I have much left to add.
yeah, trying to think. I like I do like the thing with Agatha and the confrontation between he and Crow, like the guy who ostensibly killed his kid, which I guess
Oh
we haven't
yeah.
talked about too much, but I like that they kind of build this mystery for the first half of the film or so around like what's going on there, and like the advertisement of like the guy with the shades is like, hey, there's
Yeah.
another person there, and there's the
Hmm.
laughing woman, which is not as clever, I think, as the advertisement
No,
because
the
it's
advertisement's a lot cleverer.
what's that?
The advertisement is a lot cleverer.
Yeah, like
And even the
we're
six that turns upside down to nine is
yep.
not quite as clever as that, but is clever.
Yeah, I mean, at least there's like a bit of a twist on it, as opposed to, okay, no, there's just some crazy old woman who sits in the floor of this hotel smoking a pipe and laughing maniacally at all the people who come in. I mean, that's kind of fun in itself, but yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
much.
that part is kind of where I feel like they are really playing into the idea of vision in film noir or neo noir where he has to reinterpret what he's seen before and make sense of it.
Yeah,
Um to sort of like yeah, to like get through and like, you know, do his job as a detective, so to speak.
yeah, and props at least like to Spielberg and Kaminsky and the screenwriters and all that for doing that almost entirely visually too.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not like they were like doing it with voiceover. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know if I have too much else to say on Minority Report, but no, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would this time. It's still a solid movie.
Yeah.
I do like they give Colin Farrell acknowledging the orgy of evidence would be in kind of off.
Yeah, that was a good moment too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I agree.
I will say another little maybe nitpick or kind of they got the future wrong on this one. Boy, oh boy, is that when the mom buys the balloons, she pays for it in change, and
That is
I'm
weird.
I'm pretty sure in 2054 nobody's going to be using change.
Yeah, there's no change.
Those balloons are gonna be like five to ten
Probably not
dollars.
unless they've gone from dollar bills or $5 bills to $5 coins.
maybe.
No, Robert.
But that's crazy talk, Robert.
Probably, but
I mean, like, why would the mom even have cash on her at that point? Like, if they can target the ads based on like your eyes, it'd be just like Apple Pay. You could pay with your eyes too. Like eyes
that's
would
Yeah.
become your form of
that
credit
sounds like
card.
correct there. Yes.
But you know
Yeah.
what? They got some things right. They got some things wrong. It's kind of weird too, being like halfway between when this movie came out and when this
Mhm.
movie is predicting the future too.
Hmm.
Like self-driving cars, virtual reality, video calls, like all those things are pretty accurate, but just like the form that they take. The newspaper thing is the one that probably stands out the most, though.
Yeah. Nobody can read newspapers like that. It's like, well, the whole point of a newspaper is you can pick it up and you can toss it out.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe that's a really good point. Like, I didn't know though. I mean, maybe people do have kind of like newspaper tablets where it's basically you have a subscription. They just broadcast the news to your tablet and you just open it like a paper, so they just carry it around with them, as opposed to like throwing away the thing that the news is projected on. Because I thought the newspapers were not actually like paper or something disposable that would
Yeah.
be sold. It would be like a subscription instead.
Maybe.
And it'd just be like that would be the hardware that you would purchase in advance
But
and then get the news streamed.
why am I going to have another piece of hardware carrying around? Everything's going to be on my phone or maybe my
Yes.
glasses at some point.
Yeah. No, like the newspaper would be on your phone, the video calls would be on your phone, the VR would be on your phone, the killing your boss simulator would be on your phone, the Gap or the mall would be on your phone.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh well.
Are people even going to be driving in the future?
No, I think that's probably maybe like the closest, I think, or maybe the most spot on they got in terms of like what's going to happen and how people would use it.
Are
Again,
people going anywhere?
what's that?
Are people going anywhere?
Well, yeah, they're going down.
They're not going to work. There's no workers in that factory.
Yeah,
That's all robots.
that's another thing
Yeah,
too, where
true.
it's like, yeah, is it just well, there are cars. There's a car or two around there. So somebody's gotta manage the robots, I guess.
I guess. Anyhow, I mean, yes. I mean, it's not the most believable, but it is a distinctive future,
But it's like it doesn't
and
have to be
that's
as
what I
long as it's
want out of a
fun.
movie, really.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's what matters. It's entertaining. That's what matters.
Agreed.
But yeah, and yeah, I don't have anything more. So
Let's
should
shut her
we
down.
move on to next month's movie?
Let's do it. What do you got for us, Robert?
Well, I have it. I've been speaking with Jim Laskowski, and he's going to return from his summer vacation from podcasting soon and join us.
Ooh.
So he and I have settled on Joe Dante's Explorers, a film I have never seen.
I've never seen it. I don't even know this
I've
movie.
never seen it.
I thought I knew a lot of Joe Dante movies.
Yeah, with Ethan Hawke, I know is in it as a teenager, maybe preteen,
Huh.
and
Looks
River
like-
Phoenix.
Looks like they stole a little bit of that poster design from Invaders from Mars. Actually, it probably would have been vice versa because Invaders from Mars remake came out the year after.
No, I remember it being on Siskel and Ebert back in the day, but I never saw the movie. I know it's a favorite, and I believe Vinegar Syndrome has a new 4K of it out.
Oh, nice. Huh.
So that's what we'll be watching in September.
Have you seen this before, Robert?
Have
You said-
not.
Okay. Has
I've
Jim
seen
seen this before?
clips of it on Siskel and Ebert.
Sorry. Has Jim seen this before?
Oh, I'm sure Jim has.
Okay. Yeah, this looks like a Jim film.
I mean, I like Joe Dante, so
I do too. I'm somewhat
guy is very
flabbergasted.
steady.
Yeah, that I've never even heard of this.
I know it's kind of a cult film.
I mean, that's Joe Dante's entire career. But
Fair enough. Except for Gremlins. Gremlins is no cult film.
okay, I am going to say though that Gremlins started and has its heart in the cult film space.
That is fair.
It broke out to be a success against itself.
That
And
is
he was able to
true.
rein it back in with Gremlins 2.
And apparently they're making a Gremlins 3.
That's
God
amazing.
help us all.
Wow. So that would be perfect because like it's 6 years from Gremlins 1 to Gremlins 2. It's 36 years from Gremlins 2 if it comes out this year to Gremlins 3. So it just becomes like, you know,
An exponential
squared.
thing.
An exponential, yeah. So it'd be, what's 6 times 36? Approximately 200 so years before the next one comes out. That's great. That's just great.
So I'm looking forward to it. And that should wrap up this episode. If our listeners have questions or comments, you can email us at skyespodcast@gmail.com or leave us a note on Facebook. Also, feel free to leave a review or like or share links on social media. Thanks for listening. We hope you join us next month for Joe Dante's Explorers. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, this house is gonna get raided. Yes, sir. With my back turned to the wall.
Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.